Hi everybody, it's Janessa from Thrifty Nifty Mommy, and today I have some great breastfeeding supplies to tell you about from Lansinoh. As most of you know, I'm about 8 months pregnant right now, so gathering supplies for our new baby is really important. And this may be my fourth baby, but there's always still new supplies that you need with each baby. So I'm really excited to try out these items with our new baby. First, I want to show you about the breastfeeding starter set. It's going to come with a number of items. The first is this Breastfeeding 101 book, and I looked through this book myself. As I said, this is our fourth baby, and I have nursed all of my other 3 children at least a year. So I've had a lot of experience with breastfeeding, but there was still some great information in here that even I found useful. So you definitely want to read this. I love this part. It tells you how long you can store your breast milk for. It's really easy to forget all that. So this is a great book to keep handy. Alright, we'll go with this next. This is the HPA lanolin. And this is going to be really helpful when you're nursing and your nipples start to get sore, especially in that first week or two. I don't use it a ton, but I have found with each of my my little nurslings, that I have needed it probably maybe at 3 or 4 different times. My youngest bit me really hard, and so it was very important that I had this on hand. And for those first few days when your nipples are sore and just getting used to breastfeeding, it can be a big help and really help you not to quit as you're trying to learn. Because they say that for some people breastfeeding comes naturally and they find it really easy, but for a lot of moms like me, even after I've done it many times, I still struggle each time as a new baby is learning to breastfeed and I'm getting back into things again. So lanolin, you want to have it on hand. This size is especially great for the diaper bag. It's also good for diaper rash, and I've even used it before for chapstick when I couldn't find my own, and it works great. It's very soothing for your skin, and yeah, you really need it. So make sure you have some lanolin on hand. Next up are these great little things, and I have not had these with any of my other babies when I was nursing them, but I am so excited to try them out. These are for hot and cold therapy. And I have always struggled with engorgement really badly. So what you can do with these, you can either put them in your freezer to make them cold packs, or you can pop them in the microwave for a few seconds and turn them into hot packs. And we actually don't have a microwave, so what I'll do with mine is heat up a sink full of really warm water and put them in there to make them nice and warm for me. The cold therapy is great when you're swollen and engorged. It'll help relieve some of that soreness and the swollenness. The hot therapy is good for encouraging letdown. For pumping moms especially, sometimes you can have trouble getting a good letdown when you're pumping. So by warming these up and putting them on you, it will help to get that letdown started faster, which means you spend less time pumping. And I've done my fair share of pumping too, and I really don't like to pump. I do pump when I need to, but getting the letdown is probably the most difficult part, so this can be a big help for that. Yeah, so I haven't gotten to actually try these yet because I'm not nursing yet, but I'm really looking forward to them, and I hear great things about them from other friends who have used them, and they said that they work wonderfully. I don't know if you can see in here, but there are little gel beads in here, little balls, and so that's what you're heating up, but you can move it around even. If you have a plugged duct somewhere, you could try to squeeze a lot into one area. If you put the hot on there, it'll help to get the plug duct loosened up a little bit right before you nurse with your baby. So there are these, and you get 2 in the box. So you have 1 for each side, and they're not too thick. You could, I'm sure, stick them inside your bra if you needed it. And they recommend using it no longer than 20 minutes at a time for the hot or the cold therapy. Next up are these great disposable nursing pads. I always keep a supply of both disposable and reusable pads. Reusable ones I'll use around the house a lot, but disposables are great for overnight and also when you're going to be out. I love these because they come individually packaged, so they're great for putting in your diaper bag, taking with you. I'd put at least 4 in your diaper bag, that way when you're pulling them out, you won't have to replenish it every single time you go out. But you never know when you're going to lose these. You wouldn't think you would lose a breastfeeding pad, but there have been times where I take it out to nurse and then I'm looking all around and I can't find it. So it's always helpful to have another one. Plus they're going to get wet and you're going to want to throw them away. And to help prevent infection and other things, you don't want to keep reusing a wet pad. So having dry ones handy is wonderful. And I love with these how they come individually packaged. But let me show you the inside of them. So you just rip them open. And the back has 2 adhesive spots, so you can stick them to your bra if you want. I have found that I don't always stick mine to them because I like to be able to pull it out as I'm getting ready to nurse, but some people do prefer to stick it in there and let it stay in there. So you have that option. These come off really easily and they're very sticky, so they're going to stick well. On the inside here, it's got this honeycomb pattern. It's very soft, very absorbent. I've used these kind before, they'll absorb a lot. And contoured a little bit to fit you well. It's pretty thin as well, so when you are wearing it, it's not going to show through your clothing. You don't want everybody seeing your big thick breast pads on that, which is one of the reasons I like these for going out too, because the reusable ones tend to be thicker and you can tell that they're there underneath your shirt. So if you're around your house, it doesn't matter, but when you're out, these are really handy to have. So you definitely want at least a good box of these. You'll probably go through a lot of them. Last of all in this box is the Latch Assist Nipple Averter. This can really come in handy during the first week or 2 of nursing. If you struggle with engorgement the way that I do, sometimes your skin is so tight there that your baby really has a hard time latching on and latching on correctly. And getting a good quality latch is really important so that you don't develop other issues like cracked nipples and bleeding nipples and all that kind of thing. So you want to get a good latch with your baby, and this can help you do it. You've got 2 sizes of the flanges here, depending on your nipple size, of course, and you'll just use it. You want to have your baby with you and ready to go. So you're going to just have your baby ready to nurse, stick it on, and use it to kind of pull your nipple out somewhat right before you latch the baby on, and that way they have something more to grab on there. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, if you haven't breastfed yet, when you have your baby and you start to breastfeed, you'll understand that. It just, when you're so engorged, it gets pretty tight there. So this is great. It comes in this case, so you can take it with you while you're traveling. Put it in a diaper bag, it's not going to take up much room. And like I said, there are 2 different sizes here so that you can find what is most comfortable for you. And now let's talk about the bottles here. Lansinoh put a lot of research into developing these bottles to make them easy for mom and also great for babies as they're going back and forth between breast, bottle, and then back to breast again. Because there are, some babies struggle with nipple confusion, and you really don't want that. Personally, I have always tried to introduce a bottle to my baby around 3 weeks, and I have found that that's worked really well. With my last, I waited to introduce a bottle until she was about 3 to 4 months old, and she didn't want anything to do with it. So if you want to be able to use a bottle with your baby, which is, I like to be able to have a baby who will use a bottle. That way I can go on date nights with my husband. If you want to do that, don't wait too long like I did, but don't do it immediately either. I'd say 3 weeks worked great for me. They had established a good nursing pattern by then, and then at the 3-week point I did it probably maybe every 2 weeks then for a little while, just so they got used to it. But I'd do 1 feeding a day, maybe let my husband do it, and then not again for about 2 weeks or so, and that worked well for me. So I don't know if it'll work for you, but hopefully it will. Especially if you plan to return to work, you definitely want to introduce them so that they're used to it. So one of the really nice things about this bottle is that it is only 4 pieces. There are some bottles that have a lot of pieces, and it's a lot of cleaning and a lot of assembling, and things can get assembled incorrectly. So this one's really easy. It's just a nipple, the I guess you would call this the lid here, well, a cap, just the cap to screw it on. You got your lid and the bottle. So actually I'll leave this out. Let me show you the nipple here. There are a few things that they did to make it best for a breastfeeding baby. First is this little air vent here. It's only on one side, but what it's going to do is help to release some of the air as your baby is drinking, and this will help to alleviate colic and upset tummy issues, so that they're not swallowing as much air. There are also some ridges here, if you look closely. They're on the inside of the nipple, and that helps to prevent collapse when the baby's nursing. The top portion of the nipple here is very soft and flexible. It's designed to help let your baby decide how much milk flow they'd like to receive. And down here, a little bit farther, there's a matte finish on the silicone to make it more comfortable for your baby as they are trying to use the bottle. Oh, the one thing I do want to point out about the bottle too is that these are compatible with the Lansinoh pumps, which is what I use to pump. I've been using the Lansinoh pump for the past 3 years. I use it with my son and then my daughter, my second and my third. I love my pump. It works great. And the nice thing about these bottles is you can connect it right to the pump. So that way, if you're planning on going on a date that night, you can pump earlier in the day, pop the bottle right in the refrigerator, and then it's ready for the caregiver later that evening. And one less bottle to clean. You've got the lid. If you're going to be traveling, taking it out somewhere, you don't want it spilling, of course, because you've spent all that time pumping. So a lid is very important too. This right here is a 3-pack of the 8-ounce bottles, and when it comes, it's going to have a medium flow nipple on it, but you can also purchase them in fast flow and slow flow. You'll get 2 nipples in each container. And if you're only pumping and giving a bottle like I do when you're going away on a date night or something, 1 3-pack like this is probably going to be plenty. If you are going back to work, you might want to get 2 or 3 packs depending on how often you want to be washing bottles and how long you're going to be gone. One other thing I want to point out is that the bottles are BPA and BPS free. They're plastic, so they're not going to break easily when you drop them, but they don't have all the bad chemicals that you don't want in your bottles. So I think I've told you everything about them. The bottles and the breastfeeding starter kit, you can find them at most stores where you're going to be purchasing baby products. Look for them at Babies R Us, Target, Walmart. All of those should carry these products and a lot of other great things from Lansinoh. You can find out more about their products and about their pumps and things on their website, and you can also check out my reviews for these items and other items that I've reviewed from Lansinoh on my website, thriftyniftymommy.com. Thanks for listening.